Area code 201.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hi, good evening. This is Lashes calling. Just want to say hello and good evening. I unfortunately saw the film tonight, and it was terrible. So everything you've been saying thus far on the show is indeed accurate. Oh, it was so painful. I was like squirming in my chair from the beginning of the film to the very end of the film. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was bad.
Let me ask you this: do you think that a more I hate to use the term, more confused person, do you think that they would have picked up on any of the things that you saw?
No, because most of the people who were there were non-white people classified as black under the system of racism, white supremacy. And most of the people who attended the film were, of course, white people and some other non-whites who are not classified as black. But a lot of the moviegoers were black people, well, people who were classified as black, but who are same-gender-loving people.
I wonder what that's all about.
Oh, it's very significant. Very significant. And one, I think Lee Daniels may be one.
Okay.
And the second part is, even in the film, the director deliberately planted black actors to behave in a same-gender-loving, questionable way. Whether it was with mannerisms or a line, it was quite telling, if you're a codified person.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question. Were my concerns correct about how the Black Panther Party or, people who believed in armed self-defense were going to be demonized or, portrayed to be not...
They were misrepresented. Yes, absolutely right. That was indeed correct. They were misrepresented, not put in proper context whatsoever. And the people who were playing the quote-unquote Black Panthers were quite disrespectful in relation to speaking to an elder who was black in back in those days. Mm-hmm. They were quite disrespectful.
Right. The angry black person.
Not even angry, it was just disrespectful.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And being that I have interviewed many people through the radio program Political Prisoner Radio, and actually one of them hosts the program on our network, Black Autonomy Federation, and that is just not them. They have always taught self-respect, respect for elders, love for the community, do for self, and I just knew that there was no way that no Hollywood movie was going to portray them in proper context because, of course, they're still holding many of these liberation fighters still in prison, in their 60s, in their 70s, dying from cancer, but you're still keeping them in prison.
That's correct. That's 100% correct on both of you and Pam's remarks or feedback or prediction about that was absolutely spot on.
I'm almost. I'm almost.
Just want to sorry to cut you off. But one thing they did cut out of the film was the sex scene between Terrence Howard and Oprah Winfrey. That did not make it to the final cut. They cut that scene out because there was hoopla online by other black people who said this is not what the real Butler. I forgot the gentleman's name, and his wife been married for I don't know how many years. And they never had any, extramarital adultery issues.
Eugene Allen.
Right. And the fact that he created, meaning Lee Daniels, created that scenario in the initial beginning, but ended up cutting out that scene in the very end. It did not make it to the final cut whatsoever. I was waiting for that because I've heard about, that this, questionable sex scene between Oprah and Terrence Howard, but that scene was cut out. Completely cut out.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, Carla, I'm certainly glad because you called a number of times and I was trying to connect you, but I'm so glad that we were able to get you on the line to confirm that our suspicions were correct. But as has been stated, when you know somebody's track record, then it's not too hard to figure out what they're going to do.
And also, once you accept the fact, and I know it's hard for sometimes us to wrap our minds around it, white supremacy doesn't take vacations. It doesn't sit back and let you win a game on the chessboard. And sometimes we think, because we're human, and we couldn't do anything and be that relentless 24/7, because we're human beings. Sometimes it's hard to conceive of people who can function at that level and be that relentless in harming people. But they don't, anything they do is about promoting white supremacy. So once I have that in my mind, once I know that that film is in the theaters, that it came out of Hollywood, I already know what time it is. I don't care how well they disguise it. If you pay attention, you're going to see it.
I guess the only thing to wait and see now is how many Academy Awards it gets nominated for.
No, I don't. This is not going to make it. This,
you don't think so?
From the cinematography perspective, absolutely not. Oh my God, I can't take it. I can't take it.
Well, you know what? I hope you're right, Lashes. I hope it doesn't win any awards, because that's been the other telltale sign, is when a black picture, at least over the last 20 years, wins an Academy or the actor wins anything, do you know it was strictly, straight up, pure white supremacy.
Right.
And so, that would be another red flag if it gets awards.
We'll see.
And I say no, just basically on pure technical issues throughout the entire film. It was just bad. The makeup was bad. Oh my God! I was just squirming in my chair. I couldn't take it.
Really?
Yeah.
The trailer made it look like it was a very professionally well done.
Nothing like Ray. Nothing like the movie Ray. Nothing. Not even close. Not even close. No.
Well.
No.
Wow.
And they certainly should have had the budget to do it. Well,
they had the budget, but it just seemed like their approach, I don't know what happened on set, but it seemed like their approach was kind of rushed, maybe. I'm not sure what it was, but even though you have a big budget film, sometimes big budget films don't work either. So don't be fooled by the money figures as well. So just to let you know.
All right. Well, I want to thank you again for subjecting yourself to that torture, so the rest of us don't have to.
Yeah, just watch the bootleg.
Yeah, or wait for it to come out to the library.
Yeah, whatever. Bootleg, something free-wise. Just don't spend your money on it. It's not worth it.
Well, thank you for that report, and I'll make sure that I will pass on the information.
Yeah,
no
thanks.
problem.
You have a good night.
You too.
All right, well, we come to the end of the broadcast, and like I always like to do, but first I want to thank Pam. Pam, I did not plan on us being on for an hour and a half, but the information was just flowing, and I just want to thank you for staying on as long as you did, because I initially told you 30 minutes. And so...
No problem. I was enjoying it, yeah, it's, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
So we got first-hand report that our suspicions were correct.
Right. And I think, honestly, without sounding arrogant, what else could it have been coming out of Hollywood? Seriously, what else could it have been but white supremacy coming out of Hollywood?
I think the clips just showed me enough to, basically see what it was about. So, yeah, I'm not that I'm some great, I have a crystal ball, or I'm, telepathic or any kind of sight like that. No, I could just, I study media, and I've seen enough movies to know. And they usually go off of the same playbook. So when you've seen one white supremacist film, you've seen them all. Right.
And when you trust your enemies to tell your stories, don't expect it to be accurate or respectful.
And I think
the thing is this is a pattern. And so the only thing I would encourage black people to do is a lot of the stuff that we talk about, that people talk about, you already really know. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is accept it as for what it is. We've all seen the same patterns act out over and over again, and you know, I mean, we pretty much are just really talking about the things that deep down inside a lot of black people already know. It's just
but there are many who don't, Pam.
Top, you know.
But there are many who don't.
Yeah, there's a lot who don't. But I guess I'm speaking of people who've been on the planet a while.
Okay.
And still a lot of them don't. But I think a lot of times it's buried underneath the surface, and all these layers of propaganda and garbage are laid on top. But deep down inside there is an understanding. And I strongly believe that because there is so much resistance to talking about the truth, to talking about things that makes me think you already know some of it. Otherwise, why the reluctance? Why the...
Because the truth is often painful.
Right. But if you didn't know the truth, it wouldn't be painful.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, there's a lot of sleepwalking when people are really not asleep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Pam, one more point I want to make before we wrap it up is I think what the one of the earlier callers brought up was very, very important. And asking the question about, you know, well, what can we do? You know, no, let me rephrase it. She was saying that she was thinking that this was a black film, a black producer, black director, black actors, but then finding out that the company, you know, that is standing to gain the most from it is the Weinstein Company. So that tell you right then and there. See, let me explain it this way. This is a new analogy I've come up with to explain white supremacy, and we can even apply it to this movie. But I explain white supremacy, and let's call it the United States government, all right, but worldwide global white supremacy. Think of it as a sports franchise, okay? You got the owner who sits at the top. That's a white person. That's the most powerful racist white supremacist in the world. Then you got the executives that sit under him. They might be the executive of basketball operations or player development or whatever their title is. Those are usually white people as well. And then when you get down, you might even have a black coach. Okay, and, you know, he's running the team. You see he might be the face of the franchise, and then you got the players. Some of them might be black, some of them might be white. Okay, but that is a perfect example of the hierarchy of white supremacy. At the very top, the white supremacist is in charge, and he's dictating to everybody else below him on that tree how things are going to go. And I see that with this film. I don't care if Oprah Winfrey, the executive director, I don't care if Lee Daniels is the director, okay, or Oprah's the executive producer. From the press release that I just read, the Weinstein Company are the white supremacists that was in charge of this film. So they're dictating everything to them. So there you go. Pam, did you have any final thoughts as we wrap up the program? And again, thank you for spending time with us and sharing your insights and analysis.
Yeah, I would just like to say, get it for free. If you're going to see it, make sure you don't pay a dime for it. And also just keep in mind that when we need to talk to our children and try to neutralize some of this propaganda. That's number one. And number two, we need to start finding ways to create our own imagery, create our own films. And just remember that what comes out of Hollywood is white supremacy all day long.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, Pam, thank you again, and give them the website.
Oh, I'm sorry. Racism, it's racismws.com. And just real quickly, I just happened to look for a review on I found a review on the Washington Post.
Okay.
It got 2 out of 4 stars.
2 out of 4 stars.
Lashes sounds like she might be on to something when she says she doesn't think it's going to win any awards.
Sounds like, accurate report from her.
Right, and I do wonder if that was deliberate. You put the message out there, but you say, I ain't spending no money on this.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
No, which, of course, they did spend money, of course, but, you know.
And it's got a black director, and, you know.
We're not going to put all the resources we have available to this black guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. I could be wrong about that.